speak about a famous Ethiopian rabbi. I think he was very much a great rabbi of his time. His name was Rabbi Rafael Hadane. Very, very great rabbi. I think, or you could also title him another way. You could have the title, as it says over, Hadana Rafael Trquoya. I believe. I hope I pronounced his name correctly if we use that terminology. He was great, probably one of the most prominent Ethiopian rabbis of his time, without a doubt. He was a great rabbi. And I think I mentioned him before inside the series. I'm not too sure the exact Hebrew date when he passed away, but it was 8th of November 2020 when he passed away. He was about 97 years of age. He did. And he was known as Hadana Tkoya. He was the Lika Kehnet, or let's say the high priest of the Bitais Israel in Israel, respectively. Now, he was born in an area called Sekelt in Ethiopia, and he would study with a kesim as a child. What's a kesim? I think that is kahan, as they say, a religious role in Bitais Israel. Secondly, only, let's say, to the Falasian. Their duty is to maintain and preserve the Haymanot among their people, respectively, over there. Now, during the Italian occupation of Ethiopia, he would go on to move to an area called Ambober, where he would work as a farmer. He studied Hebrew briefly, I think in 1955, when an Israeli rabbi taught in Asmara. Asmara is an area, I think, the most populous part of Eritrea, in the country's central region of Ethiopia. In 1985, Kes Adana immigrated to Israel along with his wife and 11 children he had. Now, Hadana argued, let's say, at that point in time, there was a Falasha Mura. There was much proof and evidences, I think, of their Judaism status, so he would very much speak about it. And it's actually interesting, the Shas political party would also help with in regards to it, because obviously they investigated totally. The Shas political party was under the auspices of Rav Ovadia Yosef, the great rabbi of his time. It's actually said over there's an article that says Shas party leaders on that specific week in 2002, August the 16th, said that they want to accelerate the immigration process of the 20,000 Ethiopian Jews. Unfortunately, I think it was difficult for them to enter Israel at that point in time. But the Shas spokesman at that point in time, Yitzhak Sudri, said that Tel Aviv Chief Rabbi Shlomo Amar was close associate of Rabbi Ovadia Yosef at the point of time, and I think they would very much help with in regards to bringing them to the land of Israel, which was highly reported over at that point in time. And he was very much part of that to help. He was the head rabbi at that time, and pretty much the huge stuff Rabbi Hadane did in of itself within regards to making this process as smooth as possible and transformation to come there. And except they were the Falasha Mura community. I think at the ceremony in 1994, it marked the 10th anniversary of the famous Operation Moses. Let's just say, where Ethiopian Jews from Sudan came. I think there was a civil war that caused a famine, I think in 1984. And originally it was called Gor Arya Yehuda by Israelis, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then the UJA will call it Operation Moses. Hadane recited the Yizkor prayer in Hebrew and in Amharic, Ethio-Semitic language that happens to be, in memory of 4,000 members of the community who died while fleeing Sudan. Those who reached the Sudan would then flow to Israel. And passed away 8th of November in the year 2020. We can say more about him. One of his children, I think, is Rabbi Yosef Hadane, who was a former chief rabbi of the Ethiopian community in Israel, and the first Ethiopian Israeli to be ordained as an Orthodox rabbi. Obviously, some of them might have been Orthodox rabbis at that point in time. He's currently living. He's a great rabbi. Much can be said within regards to his son. And I think he, in 1985, his son moved to Eretz Israel. I think he was the chief rabbi. I'm not too sure for how many years of time it was, but I think he had various different roles as, let's just say, as the chief rabbi. I think in 2017 he would step down as chief rabbi of the Ethiopian community, and but I think afterwards Rabbi Reuven Wahashat would actually take his place, and since 2018 he would be the chief rabbi. We could say more with regards to him also, which we're going to do in a second. We'll just look at some more interesting article. There's a lot actually detailed about him, especially on Wikipedia. You can find it in many different languages. We'll talk about more about his time period, how he actually, the Falashmura will become part of the Bitais Israel. They'll come over there. He presided over the Sij. I think memorial seminaries every year are in his memory. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, His wife passed away maybe around the same week as he did. I think her name was Elmito Berhano, and they lived in Bet Shemesh, respectively. They did. Now, one of his sons, as I said before, is Yosef Hadane, who was a chief rabbi. His daughter, I think, is Rachel Arta, also, who was contributed greatly with regards to the immigration process of the Ethiopian Jews to Eretz Israel in the 1970s. And I think she would actually meet with someone named Eliza Begin. At that point in time, would influence Menachem Begin, the former prime minister many years ago of land of Israel. I think Esther Eti Hadane, another one of his daughters, was a member of the Kfar Saba city council between the years 2014 to 2018. So many of these people would have prominent roles all over Israel. We can say that he would, when he moved to Israel, he would begin, just to add on a few more informations with regards to him, just for a minute, he would work on behalf of the country's Ethiopian immigrant community. He would oversee negotiations with the rabbinate at that point in time to make the process smooth, also with the help of Rabbi Ovadia himself. He presided over many memorial ceremonies honoring Ethiopian Jews who died en route to Israel, and much more. He was part of the Bet Shemesh community, place I'm recording this video actually from. I think him and his wife for many years worked on behalf of the Ethiopian community, lending their hand to any person who needed help and kindness, chesed, and they didn't ask for anything in return. He would, it's reported over, he would found the Wonder Ethiopian Jewish Synagogue on Bar Ilan Street. I'm not sure which place there is, and it was highly, when he passed away, the news actually really shook the city of Bet Shemesh, because he was very, very much a very great rabbi of his time, and we could say much more within regards to him. He was nearly 100 years of age at the time he passed away, the great rabbi was. So that's also another interesting tidbit to hear within regards to his brilliance. There's much more we could actually state within regards to it. It was also all over the country. It wasn't just in the religious news that actually pointed this out. There was articles in, let's just say, in the Jerusalem Post at that point in time, and various other commentaries. It really, really did shake the world in of itself. So please don't forget. I'm not sure if anyone knows the exact Hebrew date of his Hilula. I really, really appreciate to know more within regards to that. He was a great rabbi of his time, and please learn more about the great Ethiopian rabbis of yesteryear. I already spoke in this series about possibly as many as a good amount, maybe 6 or 7 Ethiopian Jews already inside this series. So that is very, very interesting enough. So we'll hopefully one of the goals is to actually include more Ethiopian rabbis inside this series. I think it's very, very important. He had connection also with Rabbi Shmuel Be'eri, who was the first administrator of the Jewish Agency's Department of Torah Education and Culture and Diaspora. This was, I think, back in the year 1953, all the way back there. So that is something else we can point out. He would also teach Hebrew and Judaism in all schools around Ambobra, all over Ethiopia, and worked tirelessly within regards to that entire sphere, and how much he did also in Eretz Israel. And he was very charismatic, he was seen as, and really represented, was a brilliant advocate for Ethiopian Jewry. And he would always, especially in 1998, he would really continuously make a smooth process within regards to the Aliyah process for Am Yisrael at that stage in time. So learn more about him, and Rabbi Menachem Waldman actually speaks in detail with regards to the famous Ethiopian Jewish rabbis, and hopefully we'll do a special edition soon. Friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. Happens to be a great Ethiopian rabbi I'm speaking about today. If you feel anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, please share these videos to other people. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe to the channel also, and we'll learn much more about them, grow together in knowledge about the great rabbis of yesteryear, and we'll speak more. And please, if you descend from any of these rabbis we're speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information on the great Chachamim. And wishing you well, Shabbat Shalom. Recording this just before Shabbat Parshat Pinchas, here from the city of Bet Shemesh, where very much he was a huge part of Jihad. So wishing you well. Thanks very much, and be well. Blessings here from Israel.